Could you tell us the situation in Rakhine State in Western Myanmar at the moment?
We're seeing a severe deterioration in the human rights situation in Rakhine State over the last year or so. Really, the situation started to get significantly worse in November last year when an unofficial ceasefire between the ethnic Rakhine Arakan army and the Myanmar military broke down. Since then, we've seen the Arakan army gain control over more than the majority of the state. But in the process, we've seen indiscriminate and unlawful targeted attacks directly on civilians. This includes wide-scale use of airstrikes by the Myanmar military. But we've also expressed concerns about the Arakan Army's conduct and whether it's taken adequate precautions in terms of protecting civilians, in particular the Rohingya minority, which lives predominantly in the northern townships of Rakhine State.
This area, Rakhine State, has been racked by violence for years, if not decades, and made headlines around 2017 when the Rohingya population were persecuted. How is the violence that's racking this area different to what we saw in the past?
Right. So I think it's important to recognize that the Rohingya, who are a stateless Muslim minority in Myanmar, they've been persecuted for decades by the Myanmar military. In 2017, we saw acts of genocide committed as part of the military's so-called clearance operation that caused more than 700,000 people to flee to Bangladesh, where they remain today. What's different about the current violence is that this is certainly the moment that we've been most concerned about the Rohingya since 2017. As this time they are really caught between the two sides. On the one side, the ethnic Arakan army, and on the other side, the Myanmar military.
Could you tell us a bit about the situation for civilians across the country 3.5 years after the military took power in a coup?
We continue to see civilians across Myanmar, in a dire situation. On the one hand, they can be targeted by the Myanmar military's airstrikes, many of which are indiscriminate at any point in time. In addition, we're also seeing a really awful humanitarian crisis with massive underfunding of the UN response and really serious obstacles to actually getting assistance to large parts of the country. With almost 3 million people displaced across Myanmar, that's a huge amount of humanitarian need for a country that even before the coup struggled to deliver essential services to its population.